information about our National Society of the Daughters of the American Revolution Scholarship, 2 different state awards, and our very own Captain Joshua Huddy Chapter Scholarship, for which we got 17 applications from students at 6 different high schools. Then in February, our team of readers met virtually. We didn't get to talk, which is tough. And it's tough too because the offerings, the students are so gifted and so accomplished. But we did manage to pick a winner of our scholarship award for $1,500. Our winner, Elizabeth Oliver, a student, a senior at Manchester High School, is here with her mother, Tara Oliver, and Elizabeth has an appointment at 2 o'clock for a working job interview, I understand. She's a very busy young woman. Her courses have been packed with honors and AP, Advanced Placement classes, in which she's earned consistently high grades. She's a member of the Math League, like a sport, competitive sport, the Science Club, and the also competitive National Honor Society. Elizabeth's sports are soccer and winter track and spring track. And she volunteers outside of school at the public library and also at her church. She has had employment throughout her high school at 2 different high school years at 2 different chain restaurant jobs, also at the Manchester Township Department of Recreation and the Goddard School, and at for a change, she's been employed at a security and fire alarm company, where her duties have included field work and office work, something a little different. Elizabeth will attend Eckerd College in St. Petersburg, Florida this coming fall, and she'll major in marine biology. It's been really interesting talking to her over lunch. Our chapter award weighs very heavily on the essay that the candidates write on an assigned topic. And before Elizabeth reads you her essay, I'd like you to hear the topic. This was last fall during election season. This election year is unlike any in our history. It marks 100 years since women in the United States were recognized as voters in 1920. It marks 55 years since the Voting Rights Act was passed in 1965. It's a time when many voters in the United States will vote by mail rather than personally visit the polls in order to reduce the risk of COVID-19 infection. And it may be your first participation in our national election for president and vice president. Please comment on any one of these milestones and how it relates to you. Now, as Elizabeth reads her essay, please listen for how she personally confronted questions regarding her political affiliation during the 2020 election season. And listen to how she set about untangling a confusion of opinion and misinformation in an effort to understand how our government works. Elizabeth, please.
Do you want me to video?
I've missed my opportunity to vote this year by a mere 3 months, as I was not old enough to participate in voting. Nevertheless, this year's election has impacted my generation the most, and has impacted how I respond back to my society. Starting at my first milestone in becoming an adult, when going for my driver's license, I was questioned on my political affiliations as I registered to vote during this process. When looking on the screen asking what party I wanted to join, I stared at it blankly. I, for one, did not know the difference between the two parties or what it meant if I chose one or the other. In school, we are deterred from talking about politics, or even in our history classes. The issue did not just impact me. I also found that many of my friends were having very little understanding about politics outside our parents' biased views. From that moment on, I became very active by myself in finding the truth about both parties. This is where the battle begins within all teens. Misinformation that was constantly poured into my ears to persuade me one way or another had not only caused stress, but confusion even more about the parties. I do agree that my lack of knowledge in politics should not fully be placed on the school, but shouldn't the next generation that is going to hold the country together be taught about this? This question quickly answered was the election as the election came closer. I found it very hard to find sites that were not biased to one side of the media that did not just focus on the drama of the battle between candidates, rather how it is going to affect parts of the country. Students at my school started fights through social media because of their political views, while I was still struggling to get a grasp on the whole subject. A decision was made by my friends and myself to actively fight for this knowledge so that we could make all of our decisions based on accurate information. This is a new battle that we face as voters, being given correct information about these events that are occurring during the election. Not to mention, I was viewed differently based on my opinion and constantly told that I was wrong or unaware about the overall situation. During this short period, I had found that for many people will stop being friends with you or will not talk to you openly based on who you vote for. For 2 months where I worked, I was harassed like many of my coworkers because we were too young to vote by customers on who we should vote for. This may be the only true voting experience where I feel that I have been involved in, but every day it felt like a constant battle. This battle was not only between the candidates, but surviving the day without being drawn into the topic, then criticized for opposing views. I experienced not just disagreement, but ridicule on my intelligence and how I hold myself based on who I choose to vote for. Now, this is not a battle for being able to vote, but battle to be able to be accepted and find accurate information about the polls. While I have not been able to contribute to the voting system by physically voted, I have taken an active participation in politics and have found meaning behind both parties. I actively fought to find correct information and denied anything I found on social media until I could prove that it was true. Being a part of the voting process has allowed me to grow intellectually and learn deeply how our government works based on the party that holds power for each section of government. While voting has the power to change how a country should run, I have learned that it should not change how one is treated. Once it affects the private life of myself by others in placing their opinion, I have learned why schools do not teach due to the backlash. But I still feel that though this experience that schools should at least inform students about the different parties. I have learned that I am not the only one who is fighting for this battle for the knowledge of truth.
Recognize Elizabeth Oliver, recipient of the Captain Joshua Huddy Scholarship, signed by Linda Nolan, our regent. For now, this is all you get, but as soon as you have an account number at Eckerd College, let us know, and the cash will be deposited into your account.
Thank you.
And I wish you luck at your job interview, your working job interview.
Thank you.